Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to Gamerjoob, and welcome back to our Poppy Playtime character concept series. So in today's video, the character looking into is Hoppy Hopscotch. So we'll go into this character's backstory, gameplay mechanics, and all that good stuff. But before we do any of that, do be sure to leave a like and subscribe as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. It also keeps you up to date with the videos that we post. Also, as always, I will just state that this is just a what if scenario. This isn't actually what's going to happen in chapter 3. So just take it with a grain of salt and enjoy the video. Alrighty, well, with that all out of the way, let's get into the character concept of Hoppy Hopscotch. So previously in our Poppy Playtime character concept series, we've been looking into the characters from the new toy line, the Smiling Critters. Throughout these episodes, the creepy critters have desperately tried to attack the player. Apart from only one character being good, the rest have been nothing but hostile towards our main protagonist. Each and every time, they have managed to escape the clutches of these evil toy creatures. In the last video, the player found themselves up against Picky Piggy. They were caught wasting food, and she decided they would become her food as well. In the end, the player was able to bargain for their life with some PB&J sandwiches. She let them live and granted them a way out of here. So now they head to a new area of this facility, and with this new area comes a new critter. So the next smiling critter that we'll meet will be Hoppy Hopscotch. This is the cute green bunny that we see in the lineup of toys. We've also seen her in the animated cartoon and in her character bio, Hoppy Hopscotch. Unafraid to hop where others might sit, Hoppy is the friend everyone needs to maintain their energy and enthusiasm. While sometimes loud or impatient, she'll always hop beside her friends, even if it means slowing up once in a while to keep their pace. Scent: peppermint. So it seems that Hoppy Hopscotch is a very energetic character indeed. As stated, she often needs to slow down to keep at her other friend's pace. She was way too fast for any of the other smiling critters, and the player will soon realise just how fast she truly is. Speaking of, we now return to the player. They now find themselves in the containment area. This area seems a little strange to the player. What was the factory trying to contain? From the looks of things, it seems they were trying to capture something. In this area were multiple motion sensor devices and will look to be traps. As soon as the player gets close to a motion sensor, the traps would spring. What on earth were they trying to capture? It seems whatever it was, the workers were trying to capture it quickly. As the player makes their way forward, suddenly a quick blur rushes past them. They could barely see it. There it is again. What on earth is this thing? It's moving so fast their eyes can barely register what it is. Eventually it stands still for just long enough for the player to get a glance at it. It was Hoppy Hopscotch. It seems that she too has been corrupted by Catnap's red sleeping gas. She is now transformed into a monstrous version of herself. But how is she moving so fast? One second she was there, and the next she was gone. If the player blinks, they'll miss her entirely. In the brief seconds that she's standing still, the player notices why they were trying to capture her. On her zipper tag was her unique medallion. Hoppy's medallion was that of a lightning bolt. The player assumes they need that medallion in order to unlock the exit, and without it, they'd be stuck here. So how's the player going to capture Hoppy Hopscotch? It seems she's far too quick for any of the motion detected traps. She just speeds right past them, and they barely touch her. Maybe the player needs to take a different approach. Maybe there's something around here that can help them. Something that the workers didn't try. As the player searches around for a new solution, they still have to be careful of Hoppy. She'll still be zooming around this area, and if she gets close enough, she'll charge right through the player with her sharp claws. When the player sees her off in the distance, they need to run away from the open areas and into the nearest room. The player rushes into a room and sees what the workers were up to. It seems they were trying to figure out different ways to capture Hoppy. There's a whiteboard that lists all the things they've tried so far. It seems that electricity didn't work, neither did freezing her, fire didn't work, they even tried using sticky glue, and nothing seemed to slow her down or stop her. But there was one thing they haven't tried yet, and that was Catnap's sleeping gas. How the workers got a hold of the gas and plan to use it is unknown. The player finds a document explaining their plan. It seems that they found a way to weaponize the sleeping gas. They were able to obtain the gas from Catnap and store it in sealed capsules. These capsules are then fired out of a special launcher and disperse controlled clouds of the gas. Hopefully they should slow her down long enough for the player to get the medallion. They locate the launcher, but they need ammunition. The note says there should be some capsules stored in the supply room, so the player sets out to go collect these capsules. Whilst walking around this area, the player needs to be careful not to set off any of the traps themselves. If they aren't careful, they could find themselves trapped here instead of Hoppy. Eventually, after searching around, the player locates the supply room. Inside, they only find 4 capsules. Only 4 shots to get this right. They need to aim carefully and make every shot count. So the player finally locates Hoppy Hopscotch. They need to lure her into a more confined area. She has too much space to run around, and there's no way they'll get a successful hit. The player eventually gets Hoppy's attention, and she starts zooming right after them. She's aware that they are trying to capture her, and she wouldn't allow that to happen. Hoppy will take out the player, just like she did all the other workers who tried to catch her. The player puts on their gas mask and gets ready. They manage to get her into a narrow area and shut off the entrance. The player fires their first shot, but Hoppy zooms right past it. They fire another, but Hoppy is just too quick. The player then tries to ricochet a capsule off a wall and bounce it in her direction. But once again, she zooms right past it. The player is now down to their last shot. They're out of options and they just go for broke. They fire the last capsule directly at Hoppy, and she quickly catches it. She caught it so quickly that it didn't even set off. It's almost like she was mocking the player as she held the capsule in her hand. At the last second, the player has an idea. They quickly strike the capsule with their GrabPack and set off a cloud of red sleeping gas right in Hoppy's face. She dozes off to sleep, and finally the player has done it. Hoppy Hopscotch is now asleep, and the player can now take the lightning bolt medallion. They grab it and head for the exit. The player places the medallion and the doors unlock. Now they can make their way to the next area. It seems that the player is nearing the end of the Smiling Critters. They've encountered quite a few of these characters, and now the end is near. But as to what will happen next isn't clear, and until then, we'll just have to wait and see. So I think the idea of Hoppy Hopscotch being included in Chapter 3 sounds pretty interesting. I like the idea of her being an overly energetic and fast character. I think it could be something we haven't seen yet in Poppy Playtime, and it could definitely add some interesting gameplay mechanics as well. But for the most part, I think the star of Chapter 3 will be Catnap. But as Chapter 3 quickly approaches, soon enough all will be revealed. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, comment, and subscribing, as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, do be sure to let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of Hoppy Hopscotch and what you'd like to see going forward. Alrighty everyone, on to our next Poppy Playtime character concept video. I'll catch you later, bye.